Pylon listeners, it is August. That's right, August, which means we are 1 month away from the start of this NFL season, and it's going to be a dandy, that's for sure. So we got the pads going on at training camp, a lot of news, a lot of reactions to all the early goings on at training camp. But before we get into all of that and everything going on in the NFC North, let's go around to introduce our crew. So we got Remy representing the Vikings.
Skull to the bull, purple rain in control. The Vikings are coming. Go Vikes, baby.
Then we got Barney representing the Bears.
9 more sleeps until Bears football? Come on, fellas.
Then we got Kinger representing the Packers.
Boys, as always, great to be back with you. Go Pack. Training camp in full force now.
And I'm Big Z representing the Detroit Lions. So, gentlemen, let's get into it. I want to throw this actually over to Remy first. So Jeff Gladney, first-round draft pick, released. What is your reaction to all that going on over there? That brutal.
Brutal, but will not be tolerated. I believe back in April, I was talking to you guys about it, and this is before, anything. He had been indicted. I wanted him off the team. If those who have read the report know the extent of what happened, and it's sickening. Jeff Gladney's agent came out the other day and said, they're still going through the process. They're still going to trial. So whether he's still innocent until proven guilty, but Minnesota took a strong stance in cutting him. It hurts to see a first-round pick go, but luckily he was our second choice, and we traded back to get him. So it stings a little bit, but, that's why we went out and signed Patrick Peterson, signed Rashad Breeland, brought Mackenzie Alexander back in and got some real veterans in that corner back room as opposed to a year ago. Jeff Gladney, he's gone. Sucks to suck, but you can't be doing that and expect to get off easy. It's truly sickening. So I'm happy he's gone. I don't think it hurts our corner depth at all. And we'll move forward and keep this thing going.
So just to be clear, Remy, you're not in the same camp as his agent who said let's not rush to judgment here, people. He said this is unfair on my client Jeff Gladney. This is, used to be innocent until proven guilty. Just to get that stance out there, you do not agree with that statement.
No, I don't agree with. I think I believe that whatever happens. If he is innocent, cool. But while the investigation goes on, you can't have somebody who allegedly do this on your team. It brings you back to the whole Adrian Peterson situation with the switch. He was immediately immediately put on the exempt list. And then
do you think that in hindsight that was a worthy suspension and everything?
I don't, because his name was cleared. He came back. I think it looked a lot worse than what it was, and I think he truly, did not mean to cause physical harm to his kid. It's not like he rushed for 30 yards and came home and beat his kid. I think
he's just teaching him a lesson.
Exactly. And at that point, I was getting called sticking up for a child abuser whenever I defended Adrian Peterson, which was not the case at all. I don't condone that, but I do not condone what Jeff Gladney does. I absolutely 100% think this is the right situation on behalf of the Vikings. And if Jeff Gladney is cleared his name in the future, cool. I forgot to mention we also have Chris Boyd, so I don't foresee him becoming a Viking again. I could be wrong, but we've got some solid depth in that cornerback room with or without Gladney, and in this case it's without. So,
Remy, I think you're dodging a bullet there just because, or at least your guys' front office, because I don't think Gladney looked any good anyway. So.
Yeah, no, it's hard after 1 year. It's hard after 1 year with two rookie corners, so. You never know.
Yeah, I can't imagine they wanted to get rid of him without this. But Isaiah Wilson on the Titans too. He got released or traded for a 7th rounder. So it's just weird how some of these first rounders haven't lasted. I know the Lions. I'm just trying to think of comparisons. are similar, types where you lose a first rounder after 1 year. Titus Young, or high second rounder for the Lions, he was gone after a couple of years because he was a nutcase too. But I don't. The Packers or Bears had a guy like that that you guys can think of?
No.
No.
I don't know. In that particular case, we did have Sam Hurd though, and that guy was a lot of fun.
No, the Packers don't fuck around with any of that, to be honest. They're not an organization, really, for the most part. I think they had a couple guys get like minor pot charges at some point over the years, but you mess around up in Green Bay and you're going to get cut real quick. And obviously, I think the Vikings made the right decision here. These allegations are pretty atrocious, so this isn't something you mess around with. You get them out of there and you roll with the guys you got in the room, like Remy said.
Yeah. So, Remy, let's change the conversation a little bit and just talk about what's going on in training camp that you've seen out of Minnesota.
Oh,
You can take either side of the ball you want,
jeez.
but a few things have stood out to you here.
Well, big elephant in the room here. Kirk Cousins, Kellen Mond, Nate Stanley, even. All three of our quarterbacks. The Iowa guy. All three of our guys on the COVID list. Now, whether they have COVID or not is yet to be said. They could have just came in contact with somebody who had COVID and take extra precaution. But Kirk will be at practice tomorrow. That has been confirmed by Coach Zimmer. Zimmer does.
We're recording this on August 4th.
Yeah.
That's when he said tomorrow, August 5th.
He will be there August 5th. And, Zimmer came out and said if everyone was vaccinated, we could just get this whole thing done with. I'm not here to talk about vaccinations anymore.
I think the Vikings are the lowest in the NFL.
Yeah, we are the lowest. And it sucks, but, I mean, it is what it is. Some of our star players are not vaccinated, and that concerns me because I don't know what to expect moving forward. Those names include Dalvin Cook, Danielle Hunter, Harrison Smith, Adam Thielen, just all the guys you really don't want. Yeah, exactly. So, but back to the whole quarterback, you got Jake Browning, Washington, I believe he's college.
Yep,
and
definitely.
He has been, it's like he's making plays, and I did not know a third or potentially fourth string quarterback could do the things he does. It either tells that our defense is really bad, which I don't think is true, but he's making the throws and the receivers are making the catches, the over the head where you have to track it with your eyes. I've seen Jefferson and Thielen both work on that. And there's even a soundbite where Jefferson talks to Adam and says, this is the hardest part of catching the balls where you track it overlooking your shoulders. And so it's been working well. We've brought in just random QBs just to fill that void until all of our quarterbacks get together. I personally wish Mond was out there getting those reps because I'm starting to become all in on Kellen Mond. Just got his jersey in the mail 2 days ago, so I am so happy.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
And
you must just really like collecting jerseys.
Oh yeah, yep. I got a Oklahoma Peterson one a couple days before that too. But no, actually notable for our wide receiver standpoint, Olabisi Johnson tore his ACL, which again, it sucks to see an injury, but you're dealing with a deep wide receiver room in there with Amir Smith-Marset and Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, Smith-Marset, KJ Osborne, who is having a really good camp so far. So that's kind of the news going around Minnesota. Hopefully Kirk can show up and stay out of the doghouse, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's throw this over to you now, Barney. Let's go to Chicago. What are we seeing there? I guess we can start with any Justin Fields and maybe some what are you hearing about him? I think it's been good things, right?
Yeah, for Justin Fields, there's been a lot of positivity. For the fans that are going in attendance and also the fans that are just getting their, clips, their daily dose on Twitter and all that. There's a lot to be excited about, coming from Justin Fields. This guy's been as advertised. There's a lot to like about his game. For me personally, what gets me excited is his leadership. Justin oozes confidence. And that's something this QB room has lacked for a very long time. But it's only a matter of time right now for me. And, Justin's going to be starting. He's not the starter now. He probably won't start game one. I still think this is Dalton's team. But like I said, it's only a matter of time until he gets out there, just because you cannot deny his athleticism. He's making a lot of plays, that are going viral. Like one of the latest ones was him just rolling out to the left, and he fit the ball in a seam to one of his tight ends, and he threw it, like he was a shortstop, running towards second base to fire at the first, right? I mean, he's got the sidearm toss. He's just got the off balance toss. And he's doing a lot of stuff that, at least from a Bears fan perspective, we've never seen. He looks really strong from 10 to 20 yards, over the middle especially. A lot of the beat writers are the word they're using is they can't believe the zip he puts on the ball. Whatever. I mean, I know it's preseason, and you don't really know what these practices are like. Are they scripted? Are they not? Whatever. As far as an offensive standpoint for Bears fans, there's a lot to be excited about.
Is he going to be the best Bears quarterback since Rex Grossman?
Jesus, dude. It's so like hard to say this, but Trubisky owns records in the Bears, like the Bears organization. That's not acceptable. I think he will. I think he'll be the best. I think he'll be the first Bears quarterback to ever throw for more than 4,000 yards. I'll tell you that much.
That's still crazy. That's never happened.
Yeah,
that's wild.
We're one of the original teams, and yet we're we don't have a quarterback like that. But it's exciting. This guy can really play, and a lot of some of these other clips, which is pretty interesting. So like right now we're dealing with a really beat up O-line. Our top three tackles haven't played yet, and so the defense is getting after him, getting after Dalton really quickly. But in the scrimmages and everything that he's doing, he's letting his legs go and he's picking up. And man, he is fast. I mean, he is a really big dude, a lot bigger guy than I thought he was, and he can really move. For me, it's just like when he grabs the ball, it was my biggest thing with Trubisky. When Trubisky had to hike the ball, I could tell he was panicking just by looking at the back of his helmet. With Fields, it's completely different. I think he's got poise, and I think he's just got leadership. And he just knows that he's athletic enough to play this position. So to wrap up a long story, it's been a lot of fun these last couple of days watching Justin Fields get to know his teammates. But
for sure. But you don't think he'll start week one, do you? Or is this too early? Way too early to say.
It's too early, and that's not a knock on him. But Andy Dalton's come in and he's been every bit of the professional that he's was signed to be. He's having really good camp too. So it's not like he's not playing well and Justin is. It's nothing like that. I mean, he's connecting on deep routes, which just was a major concern for us this year because again, we couldn't hit a deep ball to save our life last year, and we got a lot of speed in that wide receiver room. So that sort of has to be a point of emphasis to be able to attack down the field. And Dalton is doing a pretty damn good job. And right now, like I said, it's Dalton's job to lose. It will happen, I think, within the first couple games of the year. My bet would probably be like right around game 4 that Justin might get his first start. But, you can't take the ball out of Dalton's hand right now because Justin's got a lot to learn and Dalton's a veteran.
And they're paying him $10 million a year. So you got to at least give that investment the benefit of the doubt. I agree. And, we'll see. I mean, if the Bears go out and win, 3 out of 4 games to start, maybe that's delayed a little bit. So
right.
I agree with you, Barney. It's got to be Dalton's to lose at this point,
right.
For multiple reasons.
So tell anything else besides outside the quarterback that caught your eye beginning of training camp here?
Yeah, so just quickly, like I touched on it before, our offensive line, like Juan Castillo's juggling who he's putting out there. He's putting, guards out on tackle just to see what we got here because Tevin Jenkins, we have not seen a single snap from yet because he's suffering. He's got back soreness. He's been out. I don't know if they're just downplaying or what. But Jermaine Ifedi, who's on the right side, he's been out with a hip flexor. Elijah Wilkerson, our next man up, he's a tackle from Denver that we just grabbed. He's out with COVID. So, Larry Borum, the 5th round pick, he was at least able to show what he can do with the ones, playing that left tackle, playing the right tackle. He's been going both sides. And not that he's, jumping off the screen or anything like that, but he's a lot further along than the Bears thought he would be at, this as a 5th round pick. So that's nice. Another guy I want to give a little bit of shout out to on the defensive side of the ball is our 7th round pick, Kyrese Tonga. And I'm not quite sure if I'm even saying his name right, but he's a big man out of BYU, nose tackle. He's been absolutely disruptive in his time with the ones because Eddie Goldman is out on COVID protocol. So it's a lot of the young guys are being thrown in the spotlight, and there's a lot of adversity hitting this team early on, and it's just nice to see some of the guys at least taking on the challenge head on. And last thing to note, I'm just going to say, newcomer here, our offensive coordinator, newly promoted Sean Desai. He's got this defense looking rejuvenated. And I know that word is kind of watered down right now because everybody should be rejuvenated, right? I mean, it's the start of football. It'd be a serious problem if you weren't. But I think, he's got this team wanting to get back to that Vic Fangio turnover-led league team, and we brought out a new weapon for the Bears sideline here. We got the turnover bucket, which is essentially just a dolly with a trash can on it connected to a backboard. So whenever there's a turnover, they go over there and do like a dunk or some shit. But I don't know. It looks like they're having fun, and they got a big bounce back year coming ahead of them because they kind of underperformed last year.
Definitely. So, a lot going on in Chicago. It'll be interesting to see what happens. We were talking before this. The Hall of Fame game is tomorrow, Thursday, August 5th, which is crazy. But then the rest of our preseason games start up next Thursday. Or I believe everybody on here is Friday or later. I know the Lions are next Friday. I believe everybody else is Saturday on here. But, Kinger, let's go over to Green Bay. What's happening in camp up there, and what's kind of stood out to you here?
Well, guess who showed up to training camp, boys?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Here we go.
In his office T-shirt?
Guess in his office T-shirt, rocking the man bun, the backwards hat, the flip-flops, just looking like an absolute dude strolling in, casual as ever.
He won't be the future Jeopardy host. I'm seeing an update tonight.
No, it looks
like
it
won't be Aaron Rodgers.
He's decided.
Mike Richards.
He's decided to rejoin the Green Bay Packers, as I predicted from back in May. It's honestly, it's a huge relief, I think, for Packers fans everywhere to have Aaron back. To hear him speak last week for the first time, I'm sure a lot of people saw the press conference. Ultimately, it does come down to what a lot of what we thought the issue was, is that, he didn't feel like his input and some of the way that the Packers were making decisions, he didn't feel included in a lot of them. He didn't make it sound like, honestly, I thought his press conference last week was very open, very telling, very honest. I don't think he came across really, as an asshole, as a douche at all, like a lot of people were really thinking. I think it just comes down to he didn't feel quite like he was respected by some of that front office management. And after everything he's done for Green Bay, being the franchise player, all I think he was asking for was a voice at the table. Not saying that, he wanted his opinion to be, they had to use his opinion and go forth with his advice, but it's one of those things that he feels that, he just wanted to be at least have a seat at that table. Talked about how some of the previous veterans didn't feel were handled correctly. But it's good to have him back in the building. And, like he said, he's here this year. He's got his contract redone. He's, signed that last year through 2023 is voided now. So he's under contract with Green Bay for 2 seasons. Probably likely, like I've said from the beginning, that it's probably going to be traded next year. But, for the meantime, got him back. We traded for Randall Cobb in the past week, and training camp seems to be going great.
I mean, it's like he tweeted, right? The last dance for him. But aka like the last year, to try to win a championship with this organization, right? Remy?
All right, Kinger, sit down. You're already sitting down. I got a couple questions for you, buddy. So, Packer fans are telling me that after this season, he can choose where he wants to go. Is that true or false?
I mean, that's not true. I mean, it's not true by his, like, on paper, right? Obviously, he's going to have influence, and I think that's part of the conversation that has been had and being a part of it. But it's not like contract where he's like, oh, I want to go to Denver, or I want to go to San Francisco.
Or I want to go to Minnesota and beat the Packers twice. Anyway, so like he
But he has the power to say no to a trade, right?
Yeah, yeah. He's going to have some control over his future, right? Whether he, where he goes, kind of what the outlook is. But I mean, it's not, the Packers still have the power here, right? They still can trade him wherever they want. It just comes down to, I think they are going to obviously try and cater to Aaron a little bit in that sense.
So if he comes out and says he wants to be traded to Minnesota, would they do it? Probably not, right?
No, and that's a pipe dream.
Round in division.
No. That's not a pipe dream for me. No, I'm fine with Kellen Mond. I am just saying we have seen it before. We've seen it before.
I will go on record
because I got his jersey and fucking Aaron Rodgers. Secondly, Kinger, is this the ultimate farewell tour? Like, is this like Super Bowl or like you guys need a Super Bowl? This is what he came back for. Anything falling short? Is it? I don't know. Go on with it.
I wouldn't classify this as a farewell tour. I think deep down everybody knows that it's probably Aaron Rodgers' last year. I'd say I'd put the odds at 80+% that this is Aaron Rodgers' last year in Green Bay. But I don't think it's going to be treated as a farewell tour, right? I think he came back because he realizes how good the roster is. He knows that they've made improvements across the board in a lot of different areas, and that it does have a team that does have the ability to compete for a Super Bowl this year. Again, they are going to be one of the elite teams in the NFC. And ultimately, what I think comes down to is I think he loves his teammates, and I think he wants to ball with them one last time. That's the truth. He's got a lot of really close relationships, and I think the drive to compete is definitely still inside. He still wants to be and prove to everybody that he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And I think that's the main deciding factor is he wants to run it back with his boys one last time.
Do you think that the Packers will actually give him they'll listen to him. They'll basically give him the LeBron James treatment. You can go hand pick anybody you want and we'll give you them. Do you think there's a little more leniency now because of that? Because, I mean...
Well, I mean, they kind of did that with Cobb. But I think, this is an all-in year.
Yeah, Cobb, 3 touchdowns last year. I'm really not worried about Randall Cobb. I would be more scared of corn on the cob than I am Randall Cobb. But I know. I'm sorry.
That was bad. You're out in Iowa. They have the Field of Dreams game coming up. You're thinking about corn.
That's right
over there.
That's right. But I mean, just and this is my last talk about Packers because now I'm just talking about Packers, and I really don't want my brain to be talking about Packers. But and it brings back the tweet I saw where the organization has disrespected guys like John Kuhn, Charles Woodson, guys like that. It's like, do you think they have realized, okay, we messed up, we should probably cater to what our guys want?
I mean, I'd hope the Packers organization does take this as a little bit of a learning experience, and I don't think it was straight disrespect that with some of those guys. I mean, a lot of these guys, were great players for the Packers organization for many years. And, maybe they didn't get the contract they wanted, or he was a little upset that they didn't get re-signed or offered to re-sign. But, ultimately it is a business at the end of the day. The Packers have been very good at managing the roster and building competitive teams here for the last, 2 decades. So, I mean, I would hope they would, at least going forward, if, the crew that's in place right now, specifically Mark Murphy, who's been at the top of the organization for years and years, you got to obviously take that into account when you have a superstar talent like Aaron Rodgers, and hopefully some of those things will improve.
So let's shift the focus here, Kinger, a little bit to just other aspects of the Packers here in training camp. I'm curious, at least what you've heard about their first-round pick, Stokes.
Yeah, they're doing trial by fire with Eric Stokes, and I love it. He's getting a lot of one-on-ones with Devontae Adams. LaFleur said in his press conference the other day, he's going to put him in a lot of different uncomfortable situations. He's going through his rookie pains, right? Going up against one of the best wide receivers in the league, it's been pretty apparent Devontae has gotten the better of him, most of the time, but he's also out there and shown flashes of the potential and the reason why they draft him. Obviously, his speed is unmatched. Everybody's saying, the beat writers, everybody's saying, when he gets going, it's pretty amazing how fast he actually looks on the field and his ability to play quick. But it's gonna be a learning process for him. They're hoping, obviously, that they can get some good production out of him year one. That cornerback depth chart is really young right now, outside of Jair. And so it's going to be a learning process for him, but he hasn't looked bad at all. If we're talking rookies that have looked great, Aaron Rodgers said this week, Josh Myers, our second round pick out of Ohio State, going to be replacing Corey Linsley at center. There have been extremely high praises for him, really taking control of the offense. They're saying he grasped the concepts, calling out the assignments for that offensive line, just kind of like a natural. Really been blowing people away, and there's very high expectations for him that he's going to step in and have a very successful year one. So our first two,
he starts.
He's slated to be our starting center for sure. The offensive line is going to be very interesting. We've got a lot of depth there, and we're doing some shuffling right now. But another thing on that, they've moved Big Elgin Jenkins out to left tackle, and it looks like he's going to be our day one starting left tackle. And they're saying he has not been beat yet in camp by any of our guys. Just an absolute beast. So it's going to be real interesting if he does kind of continue this shutdown play once we get some of this action, get the real games going later this season. When Bakhtiari comes back, what we do with him. But that man is in line to be one of the highest paid offensive linemen here in a couple of years because he's an absolute beast.
I believe I read that Bakhtiari won't be ready by week one, most likely, right?
No, they're not going to force it.
Week 5?
Anywhere. There's probably between week 4 and week 7. Sometime end of October, November, middle October. That's kind of what I think that the timeline looks like.
Excuse me, who hasn't gotten beat once this camp yet?
Big Elgin Jenkins,
offensive lineman.
Yeah, he's our guard. I mean, he can play all three offensive line positions, but he's in line to be the starting left tackle.
How many years has he been in the league, King?
This is year 4 for him.
Where's he out of? Do you remember college?
Mississippi State.
Oh, Mississippi State. Okay.
Can't wait for Daniil Hunter and all of our beefy boys to line up against that. Oh, no. Kinger, this rivalry is going to be great.
He's in line to. He really is in line. He's going to get paid here in a couple of years.
As Barney chugs the beer, the beer.
Hold on. How long do you have him under contract?
Well, he's still under his rookie contract, so he's going into year 4. They picked up the team option year 5, and then from there we'll negotiate.
Gotcha.
Okay. So, I mean, is there anything else to note? Otherwise, we'll move on to my boys.
No, I mean, defense is looking good, right? Everybody's real high on the new defensive scheme out there. It looks like we've got some players. Devondre Campbell stepped in. He's going to be our starting linebacker. You guys all over there laughing now, but when it's another year,
you just gotta love the training camp optimism.
No, we're laughing at something totally different.
When he said we're all high, and like I was like, huh?
Oh, did I say we're all high? Wow. Yeah. Well, I'm not right now currently, so in case anybody was wondering.
All right, but I mean. Training camp always has a ton of optimism, especially
all the teams. Like Barney said, everybody's just all hyped up early. Everybody thinks,
and I'm telling you, it's not. It's not. No, you will not find more optimism than out of Dan Campbell, Motor City Dan Campbell, and the Detroit Lions right now. Dan Campbell, he continues to be a preseason legend at the very least. We'll see if it translates into wins during the regular season.
He's going to end up fighting one of his own players just to get him juiced up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown our 4th round wide receiver, and Ife Melifonwu, our 3rd round safety, got into a brawl on the field, and Dan Campbell was all about encouraging it. He didn't go quite to Joe Judge's level, of the head coach of the New York Giants, saying he got turned on by the Giants' big brawl, like full-on team brawl the other day that they had. I thought that was an odd quote. so he didn't get quite that erotic with it necessarily, but nonetheless, Dan Campbell. I mean, all about it. First day of training camp. Defense has to do 40 up downs and 40 push-ups, and Dan Campbell did them all with them. This guy is a player as a football coach. I mean, the guy is a nut job, and it's infectious so far.
Is he going to be coming off the? Is he going to be coming off the sideline like Paul Newman in Slapshot, or what?
I don't know. He might. He very well might. This team, a lot of people don't have high expectations, but at the very least, they're completely changing the culture. You've seen it all off season. You're seeing it now in training camp. There's just a totally different vibe with this team. When Matt Patricia was there, I mean, did you guys see Darius Slay's comment the other day? They asked him because the Eagles are playing the Lions this year, if he's motivated to beat the Lions this year. He said, "Well, not if Patricia was still here, yes, but since he's not, he doesn't care." So, I mean, players really, really hated Matt Patricia, not in that good way, like I think Belichick kind of does, where players might hate him, but you get the results at the end of the day. It's not. No, he was just Matt Patricia seemed to be like an asshole that nobody respected, and it showed on the field. So I love this 180. A lot of vibes at camp. Some things that have really stood out. Amon-Ra St. Brown, like I mentioned, the 4th-round wide receiver out of USC. This guy apparently hasn't dropped a single ball during all of training camp so far, so that's a really positive. He's had a lot of good battles with Jeff Okudah. And speaking of Jeff Okudah, he has looked terrific in this training camp so far, so that's really encouraging. Last year in training camp, it was not the same case. It was kind of he had his rookie ups and downs, like Kinger was saying with Stoltz in Green Bay there. Except Jeff Okudah wasn't allowed the opportunity to kind of grow. He had to be put in the starter role like week 1 because of injuries. So I hope that doesn't happen to your guy Eric or Stokes. Sorry, I think I said Stoltz for some reason. That's the Back to the Future actor that ended up not getting the role. But not anyways. Completely off topic. But Remy, go ahead. Take the words out of my mouth for a moment.
I was just wondering, we got joint practices coming up here, and the Minnesota Vikings are joint practicing with Teddy Bridgewater and the Denver Broncos. So I just wanted to go and what are you guys hyped for? Who are you guys joint practicing with?
The Lions are not joint practicing with anybody this year.
Boo.
So I'm fine with it. New coach, you got to get the scheme in first before you do these joint practices. I'm totally fine with it. Usually those joint practices end up a lot of like silly brawls and unnecessary injuries sometimes. I don't think they're as popular as they were a couple of years ago, especially with COVID last year when they got rid of them. But the other thing out of camp right now is that the offense is behind the defense a lot. What you might expect. That's usually the case in a lot of cases. I don't know if at least when I was playing college football, and playing on defense, our defense is always way ahead of the offense to start the year, just because you're getting back you got to get your timing down. But the Lions have a new quarterback, new scheme, new everything. So I'm not too concerned about those reports. What I am excited about, though, on the offensive side is Penei Sewell, our first-round offensive lineman. By all accounts, he looks like the athletic freak he showed on tape. He's been dominating a lot of reps. So I'm really excited to see him and Big V on our right side of the line with DeAndre Swift in the backfield. It sucks that Matt Stafford has left now that we probably have the best offensive line he would have ever had in his tenure in Detroit, and now he's not here to reap that. It's upsetting because I think this is going to be a really, really, really good offensive line. It'll be the strength of our team. Wide receiver is still a big mystery. Tyrell Williams has looked good so far, but the question is, can he stay healthy? That's always the question for him, at least. When he's healthy, he's a beast, but he got to stay healthy. The other two guys I want to mention, just especially because Kinger, Purdue graduate there. Derek Barnes is yet to practice for us, which is kind of disappointing. I really want to see what he can do.
What's going on with him?
It's something with it's an undisclosed injury. He just hasn't put the pads on yet for some reason. And then David Blau, though, has actually looked really, really good. Significantly improved by all accounts to be the backup quarterback for the Lions this season. But he's battling with Tim Boyle, another guy you're familiar with as well.
Oh yeah.
But David Blau kind of surprising me. by all accounts, he's behind Tim Boyle now. It looks like he has a real shot at making being the backup for Lions. I think they only carry 2 quarterbacks, so I wanted to mention those guys to you as well. But the Lions starting cornerbacks look like Jeff Okudah and Amani Oruwariye. And then one more standout. I know I'm just kind of jumping around the names, but Aleem McNeil. Remember this name? Nose tackle, 3rd-round draft pick for the Lions out of NC State. The guy has looked like an absolute freak, blowing away expectations even for the coaching staff, and just looking like an absolute freak and winning a lot of one-on-one drills against Frank Ragnow, one of the, I think, a top 3 center in the NFL, or it's a top 3, top 5 at the very least, just by the way he got paid this offseason. So a lot of encouraging signs there on the D-line and offensive line. There's a lot of questions around the, interior, but I like this is where the Lions drafted. This is where the Lions invested in. So I like that those signs are positive early. I don't know if you guys have any other comments about my team, but I, like always, am very optimistic.
So I had to run upstairs real quick to grab a computer charger. So I just got to say, I'm sorry if I missed this, but anybody talk about the amount of caffeine that Dan Campbell drinks? Did you guys see that today?
No, I didn't. I didn't see that, but I believe it.
There's a video of him today talking about how he starts his day, and he goes and gets 2 venti pike coffees from Starbucks with 2 shots of espresso in each.
2 extra shots.
2 extra shots of espresso in each.
And then what? An 8 ball to go? Jesus.
Yeah. I would be in the fucking hospital if I were to drink that much caffeine in the morning. That's absolutely obscene.
Oh yeah. Dan Campbell, baby. I absolutely love him so far. I cannot wait.
And Big Z,
he's here for 6 years.
Big Z, I think, going from someone who is so like quiet, like Jim Caldwell. It seemed
Matt Patricia, Jim Caldwell.
But Jim Caldwell, he seemed like
both quiet.
He reminded me of like Leslie Frazier, just like on the sideline, pretty silent, just like looking at the field.
Yeah.
Doesn't really know what's going on, but to have that energy and, to be in the trenches with your team, it's got to help the chemistry of buying in. I think you guys are a couple receivers away from having a legit offense. I do think
quarterback too. We still a mystery.
Yeah,
unless you're a Jared Goff believer, I'm here for it.
Yeah,
I'm totally here for it. If you want to, be a believer in Jared Goff.
There's people in my fantasy chat who think that they would take Goff over Cousins, and then I just laugh in their face. And but I mean, maybe they'll be right. Maybe, I don't know. Would you guys take Goff over Cousins?
I wouldn't take either.
It's a conversation I'm willing to entertain for sure, because neither one of them is what you're.
I probably know. Just because of the known versus the unknown,
right?
I don't know what to expect with this Lions offense yet and how they're going to operate. I would imagine a run-first offense in a zone scheme.
I would say that the fact that the Vikings have Thielen and Jefferson alone would make me want to just go with Cousins, like clearly. But again, I
but you got to think about it. You got to think about it a little bit, especially if your guy Kellen Mond's starting by week 8. Running over there, no chance.
No, he's not starting until unless Kirk gets hurt, which knock on wood.
I thought he might even be the 3rd string, to be honest.
Kellen Mond?
There's been talks. He's raw. He's more like, and I don't mean, he's built like Dak Prescott. He's built like Dak Prescott. He's big. He can use his feet. I don't know what the uh-ohs are about, but we're going. He's accurate. He can sling the ball. He's going to throw a touchdown, and we're going to bring out the number 11 with the roll, old school Dante Culpepper, baby. I'm all in on Kevin Mond, and I will end my bit on that.
Oh, my God. Oh, wait, and Kinger. So Campbell's 2 40-ounce. Is this what you said? 2 40-ounce coffees with 2 shots of espresso.
I'm not a star. I don't drink coffee, so I don't know. But the ventis are the big ones. I think they're 20 ounces.
Yeah,
I don't.
20.
All I know is it's 80 ounces of coffee and 4 shots of espresso every day, every morning.
Yeah,
guy's an animal.
That's absolutely obscene.
Oh,
but I'm happy. I'm happy we got a guy like him in the NFC North, because I enjoy the hell out of watching his press conferences. The dude is electric, like you said. We'll see if that translates over, but I mean,
I know. I really hope it
does.
The
way that it, I mean, the guys are at least going to want to play for him, I think. I mean, he brings so much energy. it's been I've enjoyed watching this man talk when he's been up at the podium thus far.
Right. I mean, it'll be different though if it doesn't translate into win. It's got they have at least had to show progress and fight like tooth and nail in the fourth quarter. That's what I'm hoping to
just be in some ball games, not just be blown out heading into the fourth.
Right, like under Patricia, by the game on Christmas Day last year against the Buccaneers was an absolute joke. I mean, I know they had coaches out, but I mean it was over like instantly. It was brutal to watch, and there was a lot of games like that under him. Like the Carolina Panthers, we got shut out on the road by a below average Carolina Panthers team, 20-0. That should never happen. I don't think the team looked lackluster. He looked dead. With Dan Campbell as the coach, I don't think you get any games out of your players like that. At the very least, I don't think we see something like that. And also, Derek Barnes, hamstring injury. That's the injury that he has currently. I think hamstrings.
I think Campbell is primed for a nice little like hot mic presser after a down to the wire game that the Lions were winning all game. Like that one versus Kansas City like 2 years ago where you guys were like winning and beating Mahomes the whole time, and then they had that crazy like makeshift hook and ladder sort of thing that got him into Anyway, I'm looking forward to the first time you guys get like a the rug swept from under you, and Dan Campbell comes to the mic and he just, they are who we thought they were. It just gives us an all-time quote.
I'm sure he'll have a lot more quotes going forward. He already has a lot in this preseason, let alone anything that's happened during the season. I'm sure we'll see him a lot on the highlights. Like they do those press conference highlight things really quick. I'm sure he'll be on there every week, if not most of them. But man, the guy's entertaining, high energy, and it's a complete opposite of what has gone on in Detroit for 10 plus years now, at the very least. Jim Schwartz had a little fire under him, not like Dan Campbell did, but
the Mo City,
it's been a while.
The Mo City Motown is on the come up to the moon.
I think people, yeah, I think people outside the organization kind of either laugh at him or I don't think they respect him yet. But I can tell you, at least Lions fans, they are absolutely loving it right now. I would say 85% approval rate. That's my guess. You'll have 15% that thinks, what the rest of the media thinks. But I think in general, people are very happy with this direction that we're going. So we'll see.
Are you guys the next Bills Mafia, where you just get hyped up and just start jumping into tables because you're just that jacked up? Dan Campbell might be jumping into tables or running through fire before a game. Who knows?
Well, I think we'll bring like fake like kneecaps in the tailgates and like start biting them. I don't know, like someone will make some food that looks like a kneecap and start biting it or something like that. I don't know about jumping tables.
I think somebody should.
Already done.
I think somebody should put like a dog chain on him, like have a holdback guy instead of like a regular holdback guy. Like put like a dog chain on him and just follow him around the sideline like a dog trying to hold him back. I think that'd be what I think he should go with.
I'm still waiting for the Detroit Zoo to bring the actual lion to the practice. Like he wanted earlier in the offseason, an actual lion chained up as a pet.
He'll have all of his teammates fight the lion, and if you can't beat the lion, you're not on the team, baby.
That's right. I like that, Remy. I like that idea a lot. Oh boy. So I think that might be a good place to stop the podcast or end this podcast for now. We're a week into training camp. We're all hyped up. Preseason games start late next week or weekend. We will have a lot more to talk about going forward, that's for sure. A lot more optimism. Hopefully no major injuries come up for any of our teams. And again, we're a month away from this season starting. Very excited about it. That's for damn sure. So, Pylon listeners, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, please subscribe. And please leave a review. We really appreciate that. Instagram at The Pylon. Twitter at The Pylon Pod. Please follow us on there as well. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Again, get hyped up. NFL season, 1 month away. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you all next week.
Bear down.
Skull.